if we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask.
Okay, we're here. Eve, what's going on? It's Wednesday. It's not Monday, but we are back with the Etan and Devo show. Eve, what's going on? I know you've been traveling a lot with your daughter, volleyball. How's that been going? How's she been doing?
She's been doing great. You know, both of them are doing great. But yeah, the traveling part that gets old after a while. But yeah, a lot of traveling, a lot of parents, a lot of you know what I mean, little girl energy, and you know the ins and outs and else. But it's honestly a blast. Like I'm having a blast, but it's just funny to see.
Is it similar to like AAU basketball with the volleyball tournaments? Pretty similar.
100%. And, you know, there's a correlation to when I saw Halliburton's dad on the court, because I see that all the time. So we'll talk about that later. Literally all the time. That is nothing new whatsoever, but we'll talk about that later.
Real quick, before we get started, since we're on volleyball, I wanted to shout out, my former teammate, Demetrius Nichols, his daughter, who was one of the top volleyball players in the country for her age. I think she's going to Penn State, or this is her freshman year going into next year. She was actually selected for the U19 USA national team for volleyball. Oh, wow. I just saw that. Yeah. So shout out to D Nick and his daughter, Gabby. D Nick was one of the best teammates I ever had. So I just thought I'd throw that out there real quick since we're on the volleyball tip. But yeah, congrats on that, D Nick and Gabby. That's awesome, man. That's big time.
Man, that's great, man. Happy for him. Yeah, volleyball, it's so much fun. It's so exhausting, but yeah, it's great. You know, one thing I wanted to ask you, let's jump right into it. I get a lot of comments and a lot of discussion and chatter from the fans as far as what's going to happen next year with the basketball team and what can we expect. And a lot of fans giving their opinions and advice on what should happen. So I want to ask you, Devo, I want to start off with that. I want to kick off the show today with that. What would your advice be to Red and the entire coaching staff next year? Because next year, and let's be honest, everybody, it's kind of win or go home. It's like the hot seat can't get any hotter. You know what I mean? And we have to make some noise next year, or we're going to see a whole new coaching staff. Let's 100% be honest. So what would be your advice to Red and the coaching staff for next year?
And Red and coaching staff, if you're listening to this, take my advice with a grain of salt. You know, this is just my opinion. Not trying to offend or get anybody in their feelings. This is just what I think. Well, number one, first and foremost, I think, don't worry about what the media says or the outside noise, you know, including us, whatever. You don't have to. We want the best. Obviously, being a former alum, we want the best for the program. But I think if I had, number one, the advice would be, don't worry about the outside. You know, don't even comment on what the media says. I mean, obviously, if they ask you questions, you have to answer. But just don't even give a long, huge answer. Just get through it. Hey, we're going to continue to work hard. Just like we talked about at the end, what we thought he should have said is, hey, we're going to come in here. We're going to hit the recruiting trail. You know, we're going to do the best that we can, get the best guys, and then we're going to go to work. You know, me and the coaching staff, we're going to do the best that we can to put these guys in position to succeed. Right. And then the second thing I would say is,
before you go to the second thing. Before you go to the second thing. Talk a little bit more about how that didn't happen at the end, because a lot of fans are still a little bit bothered by that last presser. And I know that Red did clear it up, and you know, I hope he does take your advice as far as not worry about what the media says and not worry about what the fan says and what social media says. But the way that he addressed, you know, the media at that end, apparently still rubs many people the wrong way. Like, it hasn't gone away. People haven't forgotten about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, the approach should have been different. Like we said, you should have just said, hey, we're going to go in here, we're going to hit the recruiting trail, we're going to try to get the NIL up, and we're going to put these guys in the best position that we can put them in. You know, once the season starts, we're going to work hard, practice, blah, blah, blah. That's all I should have said. You know, you didn't have to go into playing the blame game, I guess, you know, because look, the media is going to talk win, loss, or whatever it is. You know, it's always going to be something said. And I think that if you just keep it, you know, that tight knit inside your group, inside your program, inside your basketball team, worry about what you can, because you can't control what the media says. You can't control what we're going to say. And honestly, like we're light, you know, we're not super negative. We're not, you know, we're just calling it like we see it. You know, there's other outlets, you know, bringing a lot of negative attention. Right. And I think that through the year, man, look, him and the coaching staff were doing their best job, right? It's not like no one wants to lose, no, especially the history of Syracuse, but it got to him. You know, it was a point where he was obviously fed up, and you know, he said what he said. But again, I just think the approach should have been different, because now saying that, you're just giving them more to feed off. You know, you're giving the fans more, you know, criticism to feed off, or the media more criticism to feed off. You know, and honestly, that's what they want. They want you to say something so they could respond to it. So just giving them that, you know, point blank, hey, we're going to go in here, we're going to work our butts off, we're going to try to put these guys in the best position that we can, and we'll see what happens. You know, that's what I think should have happened.
One of the, you know, strongest piece of advice that I got when I was at Syracuse, I was younger, and it was Donovan McNabb. And he told me, you know, one thing that you're going to have to understand is that the media aren't your fans. They're not. So they're going to talk good about you and they're going to talk bad about you, but you have to not take it personally. And I think that Red kind of needs to hear that message as well, because he was obviously a little bit bothered by some of the media. He said he was bothered by the negativity. He didn't like the, you know, but it was a tough year. Let's be honest. It was a tough year. And like we always say, we got criticized for being too positive, which is still crazy. But a lot of the fans are like, you know, y'all are too positive. Why y'all being so positive? Why y'all trying to look at the bright side? Things are terrible. But in a way to critique is just fine. You can critique, but you know, I don't know. You just got to let it roll off your back and just keep coaching. That's what I think. But let's go on to the next. What's the next piece of advice that you would give Red and the rest of the coaching staff for this next upcoming season?
Yeah, so the next thing I would say, just be honest with players in their roles and what they need to do. Like flat out from the beginning of the year, hey, this is what we need you to do. We need you to go rebound and play defense, right? That's what we need you to do to be successful as a team. Hey, we need you to be a shooter. We need you to knock down shots. Hey, JJ, you're going to have the ball in your hands. You got to be a decision maker. You got to be a playmaker. You got to be a scorer, right? I think just defining roles within the team right away, before preseason starts. If you could do it in the summer and you get your all the guys in the summer, let them know what their role is going to be and what they're going to need from them on this team. And I think when you do that earlier than later, now guys aren't confused. Like William Kyle, Soiree, we're going to need you to be able to guard the pick and roll. We need you to rim protect. We need you to run the floor rim to rim, right? We're more so defensively. Hey, can you be a lob threat? Can you be a drop guy, a finish guy at the rim? That's what we need you to do. Regardless if they have an idea going in, you have to set it straight and just let them know from the very beginning. It just makes it so much easier for guys going in, because now if you don't set the table, so to speak, guys going in starting to do stuff that they're probably not supposed to be doing, like trying to score out of the post or whatever it is. Now guys aren't confused about it. Like, go in there and, like, define these roles right away. Like, the guys going into the preseason, getting into their condition workout, this is what we need you to work on. So now when you're going into the season, you're ready and prepared for it. We need you to be good at this because this is going to help our team. And again, these guys have an idea going in, but when you tell them point blank period, it's coming from the head coach, right? Not the assistant coach, right? The assistant coach, he can reiterate it throughout the year or in practice or whatever it is. But when it's coming from the head coach at the beginning of the year, preseason, it kind of X's out all the confusion for these guys, and they know what they got to work on going into the year.
How do you handle that with the guys coming off the bench. One of the things that was always frustrating as a player is for a coach just to tell you to stay ready, and then your numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've been in that position, but I've been in that position before. And
Right.
what do you think would be the best way to handle the bench players who might not be getting consistent minutes, but he still wants them to specifically come in there and play a certain role?
So just a quick story. So I really didn't have to deal with that, until after Cuse, and even like late in my pro career, right? And I wish I would have maybe dealt with that early on, because I think later in my pro career I didn't really deal with it the best that I could, because now you're feeling like, man, I'm better than this dude, and you're not playing because whatever the situation is, because he's from this country, whatever it may be, So I wish I went through that a little bit earlier, so I could know how to deal with it. But I think for these bench guys, again, preseason coach, like, we got to go on, hey, you're coming off the bench, we need energy and effort. Like, we need you to come in and rebound, play defense, or we need you to come in and be a spark in the scoring column, whatever it is. And then throughout the season, this is where really it's important about with the assistant coaches to reiterate that at practice. If you see a guy struggling, pull them alongside in practice. Hey, look, remember what coach told you in the beginning of the year? This is what we need from you. I know you could do this. I know you could dribble or you could shoot. We understand that, but we don't need that from you. For you to excel and for our team to excel, we need you to be the best defender that you could be, right? Can you give us 10 to 15 minutes of superior defense when you're in the game? And when you're not in the game, can you clap it up? Can you support your teammates? Can you give us positive energy? Can you do that? And if you do that from the beginning, like in the beginning of the season, right? And now these guys know. So going into the season, when they're playing 10 or 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it is, they already know. They're not confused about, hey, why am I coming in here getting paid this NIL? Because now that's a whole nother layer to it now, E. Like, these bench players are getting paid $200,000, $250,000, and that might be on a low end. We heard Nate Kings I don't know if he'll start or not. We heard he's getting $750,000. Coming from Oregon State, that, the kid Zypher, what's he getting? He might be getting 100 to 200. Who knows? So I think it's just setting the record straight from the very beginning. Like, this is what we need from you. And then the guys who aren't playing as much during the year, obviously, yeah, regardless if you tell them or not in the beginning of the year, it's going to be times where they get frustrated if they're not playing. Even though they did hear it. But that's when the support staff and the assistant coaches come. Look, you got to be ready, man. We talked about it in the beginning of the year. You knew this going in, right? So this isn't something new, right? You have to be able to lock into your role, and then you got to be able to have those guys stay after and get their reps in. Like, even if they're not willing to or if they don't want to, you got to figure out some type of way to pull them in after practice, right? Because, again, we both played, and we know you coming off a game where you're not playing, it's a loss. You felt you could have helped the team. The last thing that sometimes what you want to do is stay after practice and get extra shots. You just want to get up out of there. You don't want to deal with the coaches or sometimes your teammates. And that's just a fact, right? So the coaches really have to step in and make sure that they keep these guys engaged. You gotta keep these guys engaged, because if you start having one or two fall off, that energy, and I'm sure you've been a part of some of those teams, maybe in the NBA more so, but like where 2-3 guys start having bad energy, and then that goes to 4 and 5, and now eventually it can affect the whole team. So it's super important for these assistant coaches to keep these guys engaged and just let them know that, hey, even if you're playing 10 to 15 minutes, we need you. We need you to be engaged, and we need you to be there for us.
Let's go to a quick break, because I want to come back. I want to ask you about the ability for players to earn more minutes. And sometimes when a coach kind of sets in stone what a person's role is going to be, it can kind of be a little bit discouraging if they're not allowed to earn more. And that's one element that a coach does deal with. So let's take a quick break and let's talk about more of this when we come back.
Follow the crunch through the AHL playoffs as they battle the...
Hey, that's funny. I was watching Hallenberg's dad is unbelievable, man. You don't do that.
I do.
You can't.
I do want to talk about it.
He's lucky that Giannis didn't put that paw on him around that ball head, because he was like this in front, with the towel. I'm like, dude,
we got to touch on it. We got to talk about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
That was unbelievable. But and Giannis is super competitive. Like, that's, yeah. But I saw that and I'm like, this dude crazy.
Is that it's too crazy? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. What they saying in the chat?
They literally just got on. There's people that just got in on the chat.
Everybody
just saying hello all.
If you guys did the show on a day,
yeah,
people knew to tune in. It would be.
What is that?
Yeah, no one probably knew for real.
Oh, okay, that's true, because it's Wednesday. Yeah, that's right.
Just giving you guys crap.
Okay.
I have some news for you guys. I'm going to talk about it. I spoke to Adam Weitzman yesterday.
You did?
Did you?
I reached out to him, and he said he'll talk to me later in the week, so I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
I wonder if he gets back to me. We'll find out, but I said, I want to have a conversation with you on the record about everything, and if you're willing to do it. And he said, I'll get back to you later in the week. So.
Yeah, I talked to him too. I'll talk to y'all about that though. Hold on, do I have a second?
I don't know if he'll do it, but we'll find out.
Yeah. I didn't even get a chance to tell you, E. He reached out to me. I'll tell you about it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Man, look, I've gotten all type of calls. And I'm like, emails.
I already know.
What's his name? Reached out to this newspaper guy, Chris Carlson. He was reaching out.
Oh, yeah.
He was
I know.
emailing the lady from my foundation. I'm like, man, look.
No, really?
Yeah.
Hey.
He's digging. Oh, he's digging.
Oh no, it's gonna all.
How you guys doing, by the way? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Everybody good? Yeah, everybody good.
Yeah.
How you doing, Paulie?
I'm doing great.
Doing good?
Good.
I'm doing great. I'm getting old and tired.
Old and tired?
Yeah.
You know what you do for that, right?
Being in your 50s is different. Like, you feel it. You feel being in your 50s.
You still work out a little bit?
Yeah, and you feel it.
Yeah.
I'm sore from. Yeah.
You get your walk on. I know you got a dog. You gotta get outside and go for a walk.
I walk 3 miles a day, man, and it hurts.
Nice. That's fair.
Paulie, where you live around to go for
on a dog? Liverpool, right out by the Parkway.
Oh, so you good? You right there?
Yeah, I walk the lake every.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. Yeah, so we got 11 guys on the roster right now. I just got them all down.
Yeah, I would assume Lobdell's going to be on the roster again.
Well, that's 12 then.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think he'll be back?
Yeah, if his dad's paying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how it goes.
So that's how that has to go.
Yeah, right.
That has to go. Otherwise, it's
Group and Sweetgrass.
no spot.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. This is the Etan Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
I want to continue with what we was talking about, and just how do you set the roles for guys and then not take away the competitiveness that they can earn minutes. Because things happen in a season where at first the coach might think that this is going to happen, but then the player outplays them. You know what I mean? So how do you think that? Because we're going to have guys being competitive in different positions. It's not going to just be you're playing this many minutes and you're playing this many minutes. I don't think. So how do you think that Red should handle the competitive aspect of it?
Well, it first starts in practice. Like, I think it's good to bring these transfers in that we brought in, because last year I was at a few practices and it just wasn't competitive. Like, you're going against the walk-ons. You can't have that. You got to have other guys who you're going against in practice to get that competitive spirit starting right there, right? You guys got to compete against each other in practice. That's where it starts. I think we have more versatility. So to your point, you got guys who could play multiple positions. But look, if you got a guy coming off the bench and right, you set your roles in, but if he's coming 10, 15 minutes, now he's starting to hit a couple open shots, or he's excelling in different areas. Well, that's now the 10, 15 minutes becomes 15, 20 minutes, or maybe 25 minutes. And again, like, if other guys aren't playing as well as expected, that other guy takes that position or takes those minutes. That's just what it is, and you have to do that. But when you put guys out there and they start doing more than you thought, you got to give them extended minutes. That's what it is, and again, like, the bench guys obviously are at a disadvantage from the starters, but look, starters bench. That's the makeup. But if you go in there and you're busting your butt, we don't expect Suarez. If you're going in there and doing what you do, 10 rebounds, you're going to play more minutes, right? But now if you start adding, 3 for 5 from the field, 4 for 4 from the field, just off of lobs and dunks, and you're being a rim tech, you're probably going to get more minutes than William Kyle, and vice versa, right? If you got one of those freshmen, Cayenne, if you come in and we expect you to play 15 to 20 minutes, but you're averaging 11, 12 points, you're making plays, you're playing solid defense, you probably get to 25, possibly 30. I'm sure there are going to be games this year, where he plays 30 minutes, because he's a guy who has a super skill set. Right, he's 6'7". He can put it on the ground. He could shoot it from the outside. He can get all the way to the rim. I think he'll add a little bit more weight. But again, there's no one guy on this team for me who's really going to get a lot of minutes besides, I would say, JJ and, two guys, JJ and George, for me. Right, and then you would think Donnie too. Right, those three guys. But again, like, look, Donnie's still learning too. Hopefully offensively, he can be consistent as he can. But defensively, if you're not guarding, you have to have a guy in there who could guard, who could protect the rim, because now you're just exchanging baskets. And what did they really struggle with last year? Getting stops. Like, and playing defense, like that's rim protection is huge, right? Half court defense is huge. So, and then rebounding, because if you can rebound the basketball, then you're not letting teams get out and play fast, which most teams want to do. But if guys go in and they're exceeding their role, then you got to give them more minutes.
Let me ask you this, just before you go to the next point of what you think, Red and the coaches should do. Do you foresee a scenario where we could be in the position where we have a Kyan Anthony, Sadiq, Donnie, all be able to get offers that Syracuse can't match because we're not in the NIL situation to be able to retain them? Could you foresee that being possible?
Absolutely. I'm sure Donnie had him this year. And luckily, and we were fortunate enough to be able to keep them and obviously get enough money to keep them. But if these guys have any type of good year, schools are going to come in, right? And look, if Donnie has a really good year, he's out of there. Like, I don't think there's any more transfer, and it's probably going to be to the NBA draft, But guys like Sadiq White, because Sadiq's coming in. He's raw, right? He's probably one of the more athletic freshmen coming in the country, just athletic players, period. I mean, the guy is a high flyer, and I think he's more so ready, like, defensively guarding. He's versatile. He can switch and guard different positions. Offensively, not really a great shooter, still shaky on the handle, putting the ball on the ground. Like, that's why you would put him at the 4, probably, because I don't know if you could really trust him at the 3, handling the ball out there or shooting the ball. But if he improves, like kind of how, like, Donnie, like, he continued to get a little bit better, and if he didn't get injured, I think his stock, he might have left for the draft if he didn't get injured, just to be honest. But if you could just get better, like, little by little, it doesn't even have to be a lot, There's going to be teams coming after you, especially when you have that to work with. You know, you have a freak athlete in Sadiq White. If he just improves a little bit over the year, he's going to get other schools coming in. And same thing with Cayenne, right? He's going to, obviously, just because of his name. Like, I think other schools want to have, you know, his name be involved with that school. Mello, his pops, right? And look, if he left, it'd just be a bad look. You know, you don't want the greatest basketball player of all time, his son, you know, leaving to go somewhere else because of you didn't have enough money or whatever the situation is.
But that's a very real possibility.
That's very real.
If he does have a solid year and our NIL situation still stays what it is right now, we won't have enough money to retain him. I mean, we just got to speak in reality. I don't want to lie to the fans. I don't want to give them false hopes right now. And you've been talking about it, and you've done a great job of talking about it week after week. And a lot of people said, you know, Devendorf doesn't know what he's talking about. We have enough NIL. We'll be fine. We have $5 million. That's plenty. And I just want to caution fans that we could very easily lose Cayenne next year because of our NIL situation.
And there was already USC was over him. They were on him. Excuse me. They were on him heavy, right? And they just paid the guy from, I forget where it was. I'll ask Paulie in the break, but they just gave him $3 million. The guard, he's a shooter
from Maryland. He went to Maryland.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. They just paid him $3 million.
They just gave him $3 million, so they got it. Right? Yeah. And I think who's the coach there? Is it Musselman? Eric Musselman is the coach. And man, I'll tell you what, he's not afraid to ruffle feathers either. Like, he's going to get after it. Like, I know him from he was coaching when I was playing in the G League, and I just know what type of guy he is. Like, he's a gritty, hard note, and he is not afraid to get into it with you. So he's honestly, that's going to be an issue year after year. Because look, I think the goal would be, honestly, how can we create sustainability? Mm-hmm. You don't want to have to, as a coach, how stressful is it every year that you gotta build a new team? Every single year. We're playing AAU, right? But look, The thing was AAU is like the best teams, they always had the best players, right? That's not necessarily going to be the case every single year for Q. So you want to develop some type of sustainability where you can get these guys for 2 or 3 years, and then, you know, you add in 1 or 2 really high level guys each year. But again, you have to have the NIL money to create that sustainability and to create that consistency. You have to have it, man. You have to.
Right now, we do not. I want to make that point clear. Right now, we do not have the ability to be able to retain these players. Let's just be crystal clear. We do not.
Right. And I mean, if Nate Kings, and no disrespect to Nate Kings, I think he's probably one of the best shooters, you know, in the country. I guess that's what they're saying. I haven't saw him play. But if he's getting $750,000, look, man, you try to bring in a NBA, a guy who's looking to go to the league, you better have $2-3 million. You better. That's what they're doing. Like, is this kid from Maryland? Is he an NBA prospect?
Rodney Rice. He's good. He had a good year.
Okay.
He had a good year last year, and he had a lot of different options of places where he could have gone. But
is he considered a lottery pick? Is he considered an NBA lottery guy? Is he?
I can't tell you that. I'm not sure, but I know he had a good year. So just saying, and he had a good year. Not saying that necessarily he's a lottery lock. He had a good year. Cayenne can have a good year, and then we could lose him next year. So I just want to keep reiterating that point because, you know, we're excited about our recruiting class that we have, Sadiq, you know what I mean, everything like that, and Cayenne. But if we don't get this NIL situation together, we're not going to be able to retain them. That's the bottom line. I know we got to take a quick break, so let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about more on QSportsTalk.com.
The Sports Show with Cody Mack.
The Bills, they had a good draft. I like their draft. I think that they've got some big bodies. I think Landon Jackson from Arkansas.
And I think, too, the other kid's supposed to be good coming in, Fennell.
Yeah.
Luke Fennell.
Yeah.
Australia. He's playing pro he's been playing pro, I guess, for a couple of years, and that's a tough league, and that's a good league over there.
Can you turn the commercial down, Paulie? Thank you. Yeah, let's talk about Halliburton. I want to talk about his dad.
That is hilarious, dude. He had the big towel of his son, and he was slowly kind of like doing this, and then Giannis was just walking, kind of looking at him.
Yeah, he's bugging. Giannis has a lot of self-control, and he doesn't know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
If it was Steven Jackson, it would have been the Pistons. It would have been the Pistons Pacers all over again.
On the wrong person like that. What you?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No, and I heard his dad was kind of like that as far as like he likes to talk stuff and all that. Like his dad is like that, I guess. But you can't, you just walking on the court like that.
It was too much, man. It was too much. Hold on for a second. Come here.
Do we read the chat like Orange Nation or not really? I don't even know what that chat is. The only chat I read is the one we're in right now. Paulie, what's the Orange
Don't
Nation?
Let him get to you, Eric. He's a pain in the ass, that guy.
I don't even know what that is, though. What is it?
What I miss?
He's just asking if you look at the chat.
What chat? The chat in here?
Yeah, the one you're looking at.
Yeah, we do. I mean, yeah, absolutely, we read it. Oh yeah, Tom, we read it because yeah, absolutely. It was a genuine question, Paul.
Okay.
That's what he said for you. No, he was just seeing if we read the chat.
Oh yeah.
He said, Paulie, he said he wasn't being a pain, not until noon at least.
He drives me crazy.
Be easy on Paulie, all right? He's got
That's why you see those clips of me yelling at the camera and stuff.
That's him?
Because of him.
Yeah. Be easy on Paulie. He still has to get his 3 miles in today. Yeah, that's you know what? Mondays is like when everyone's in. They probably didn't even know what day we were going on this week.
Yeah.
Except my guy Devendorf. Matt, you're always on. You always know what time it is.
My man Matt, he on there?
Yeah, Matt's always on.
Yeah, Matt, I see you in the comments too. I agree with everything you've been saying.
That's funny. Well, okay. I'd like to see Noah be a manager, give the spot to a kid who can actually make the team better. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, bro.
He could actually make the team a lot better if he's on the team.
Well, exactly, from the NIL standpoint. But they're not even... I mean, because I guess they just said there's a guy from Monmouth. I think Tim just said that on campus. Was it a guard? Was it a big? Do you guys know?
Tom Anxiety says they are nicer than Paulie when they respond to the chant. Call them the names you call me, and let's see how it goes.
Wichita.
Say the things to them you say to me.
Wichita State?
You want to start trouble over there.
The forward from Monmouth committed to Wichita State over Syracuse. And there's nothing out in Wichita State. I'm just letting y'all know that. I don't think there's anything out there. So it had to be some NIL.
We're back. Hey, E, did you see after the game, Indiana beat Milwaukee, and some fans came out on the court, and Tyrese Halliburton's dad was in front of Giannis waving the flag and, the towel and kind of taunting him. This is what we do, and Giannis had an unbelievable amount of self-control. But did you see all that?
I did see it, and I thought it was ridiculous. What is this like? Where Another like where your example of your dad living through your son or something like that, like where you're, hey, my son's doing it, but I'm going to be the one getting the attention. That doesn't, man, that was ridiculous for him even going on the court. First of all, if I'm a parent, and you have a son who plays D1, your daughter's going to play college volleyball, I'm assuming, kind of fall back and just like enjoy them playing. Right. And let him Halliburton, he jumped up on the scorer's table and was doing his thing. Right. Let him do his thing. You don't have to be a parent, putting yourself in the show, so to speak. Right. Especially Giannis, one of the best players in the world. He already won a championship. Why are you going? This is the first round. This isn't the conference finals. It was the first round. They're going to lose in the next round, E. They're going to lose in the next round to whoever it is, whoever they're playing against, right? Is it the Pistons and they're playing the winner of the Pistons and Knicks? Or is it
I think they're playing Cleveland.
They're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to be out. So, but I don't know, man. Just fall back, and enjoy just being in the shadows. Like son going to take care of everything you need to take care of, pops. Right? You good, and you just bringing more negative attention to him. I'm sure that the organization had to say something. Look, Tyrese, man, we're going to have to talk to your dad. He's just going to have to sit over here now, right? Yeah. He's going to have to sit over here. We're going to have somebody with him.
So I saw that Tyrese addressed it after the game, and he said, he's talked to his dad, and he didn't really condone what he did, and you saw Giannis's remarks after it. So his dad's probably going to issue an apology, if he hasn't already. First of all, we're sitting here live on air, but I do want to say one thing that I see a lot of y'all parents on social media talking bad about Halliburton's dad and, oh, how could he do this? And that's so unprofessional. And I see y'all in the stands, though, at AAU level, at my daughter's, the volleyball tournaments. We just came back from NEQs in Philly. We was in St. Louis, and parents was acting a whole fool. All in the stands. I could tell you so many stories. And my son used to play soccer. Soccer parents might be the worst of them all. You know what I mean? I've seen it. So while y'all thumbing y'all noses at Halliburton's dad, y'all be doing the same thing. Y'all be doing too much. Parents be trying to live vicariously through their kids and causing spectacles. And it's not, listen to this, E, it's not just one demographic. It's Black parents, white parents, Spanish parents. Every single demographic of parents do the same thing. And I see a lot of the same parents. I don't want to have to call them all out, but it's funny seeing him on social media talking bad about Halliburton. And yeah, his dad was out of line, but I'm just saying, I see y'all doing the same thing.
And this is on a whole nother level. This is the NBA, right? So he's really these guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars. So right, I'm not making an excuse for his dad. He shouldn't have did it, but parents, when your kids are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old or middle school, high school, man, just sit and enjoy it. 95% of your kids, that's it for them, right? They're not going to even play after that. And that's just the reality of it. Let them enjoy that time with their team. And it's honestly, man, it's gotten so bad that it's really ruined youth sports. Right, and I have a program that I run, ED23 Hoops, and look, the parents have been great for the most part, but sometimes you'll see emails or whatever, and it's just ridiculous things. Sometimes you know what I mean? You be like, man, just let them enjoy it. You know what I mean? And it's especially look, if you're paying money to do it, to play, man, listen. Just let this kid enjoy it, man. Don't make it harder than it is. Especially if it's a development. If it's a development program and the kid is trying to learn and get better, let them do that. A lot of times when those kids see you as a parent, they may not say anything, but it's embarrassing to the kid, and it makes the kid not want to do it anymore. Right? He loses confidence in that. He doesn't want to play hard because my dad or my mom is screaming at my coach or screaming at the ref. And honestly, as a parent, I have not done that. I can say this. I have not done that for my girls. Even at the track meets I go to, you see some parent, they're offside, whatever it is, the track lingo. Man, I just want to sit back and enjoy. You know what I mean? And sometimes
Right.
I don't film, like because I want to be there, and I just want to be there. You know what I'm saying? If my fiance is there or the girl's mom, they'll do it. I'll get the clip from them, but I just want to be there to enjoy the moment. And you take that away from your kids when you're yelling at people and acting a fool, and that's just a fact.
Man, it's so many stories. I could do a whole book just off of AAU parents and volleyball parents. We was just, I thought it was a quick story. So we was just at a tournament and we was playing Metro. And there was this one parent that was just being obnoxious. And he was just clapping everywhere you go, standing up like this, pointing at different people. He wouldn't stop, right? So our setter, her dad, little cat too, Devendorf, went over to him. And all we saw him go over to him. And he said, you know what I mean? And the dude backed up and he sat down and he came back. And all the parents was giving him high fives, giving him dap, everything like that, because the dude was making a spectacle. And his daughter is sitting there so embarrassed. Like, she's so embarrassed. And I see it literally all the time. Like, all the time. I saw in at NEQs, I saw this mother come on the court and literally take her daughter off the court, throw her uniform on the floor, and I guess they quit that day. Like, I saw it with my own eyes. And let me just say this one more thing, and then we can go on something different. College coaches are turned off by players because of the way that their parents act in the stands. It happens a lot. I don't want y'all to think that college coaches aren't sitting there watching how you conduct yourself and they're Xing your child off of their list. I've literally seen it happen. Any recruiter will tell you the exact same thing. So the way that you conduct yourself in the stands can negatively impact your child who's trying to play at the next level. So just know that, parents, when you want to act a fool in the stands.
And at every level too. We've seen, if you got like a pro prospect and coming, or a college prospect, and the mom or dad is always in the paper talking about it, or hey, this is what we do, this is how we train, or doing this, and like trying to micromanage. And again, there's a way to do that, but if you're always going to be in the picture, like you said, they don't want to deal with that. Like, we'll go to the next guy who might not be as good, but nobody's in the picture. His parents are just kind of letting him do his thing. Like, now they could deal with it. Like, they could really grow and develop this guy. They don't want you showing up at the university or the practice facility with your mom and dad. Be like, he needs this, he needs that, he needs this, he needs. No, like, look, that's one thing I could say about my mom and dad. I never experienced that. They would like, whatever you want to do, whatever you think's the best for you. I want you to do that. I want you to have fun. Like, I was blessed in that regard, in many other regards, but my mom and dad just enjoyed watching me play. And one thing they knew they didn't know that. They knew they didn't know like about basketball like that more than a Coach Boeheim or a Coach Smith at Oak Hill. So when they basically were like, here's my son, we're hoping you could do the best for him, right? And then fall back and just enjoy the games. Like, that's what parents should do, right? It's you're stunning your kids' growth, right? When you continue to do that, and look, it's hard as a parent. I get it. Like, you want to be there, you want to try to control the hurt and not let them, go through. But you have to. You have to let go, and you have to let your kids grow and mature, go through mistakes, whatever it is, to get to where they're supposed to be.
But let me say this, too, and we can end it over, but Halliburton's dad is lucky that Giannis has self-control. Because
That's a big paw he got.
Like, come on, man. It would have been terrible for you. Yeah, and Giannis was just sitting there with his arms folded. You know what I mean? He had just lost all those emotions. Now, if he would have turned around and cracked you, you know what I mean? After you ran up on him, after you initiated everything. So, I mean, you might need to think about that next time before you run, because you run up on the wrong person, it's not going to end like how it ended with Giannis. I guarantee you it's not. So, there's no chance. You can't do that with everybody.
And they're not worried about that little $100,000, $200,000 fine, $300 that they're going to get. It was worth it to them, right? These guys are, like we said, these guys are making multi-million dollars. A little slap to the head or whatever it is, like, and you were in the wrong, they'll take that. They'll take that 250. Go ahead. Here it goes. I felt good to do that. My man was in my face after the game like that. Look, I understand supporting your son. It's ways to do it, man. And you don't go on one of the best players in the world doing that.
Yeah, fall back, Dad. Come on now. Fall back.
Fall
All right,
back,
let's take
for real.
a break. And we'll be right back with more on QSportsTalk.com.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, they were just saying that living through another grown man's name is diabolical.
Yeah.
Last season, the Syracuse center became the first Orangeman to be named the Big East Defensive.
You want to come
Man.
back, talk about the Pistons a little bit, and then do our
Yeah, we could do that.
and do.
Yeah, go off your last night. I didn't see the game though. I'll be honest with you.
I'll tell you what, those teams, they fighting though. Both teams, like they fight. Like it didn't. I didn't think it was going to get to the hundreds.
Yeah. I do wish my man would stop flopping all over the place though. Goodness gracious.
Oh, that's
just play.
Yeah. He does that every play, every single play, for real.
Lord.
Like every play and every play, dude. For real. They locked him up yesterday. My man Thompson. I mean, those twins, the Thompson twins.
They
Man,
nice.
they all right. They nice, man. They can play.
But come on, man. Stop flopping, man. Good Lord.
Stop flying. It caught up to him now. Just play ball. Like sometimes it works, but other times it kind of like stalls you. It messes you up. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
yeah. How do you say his name? Azar Thompson. Man, 29 minutes, 8 for 10. He got to work on his free throw, 6 for 12. But man, he was all over. 22, 7 rebounds. 2 blocks. Yeah, he's a straight energy guy, cutting to the rim. And my man Jalen Durant, he can pass for a big fella. He had 14 rebounds. 14 rebounds, 6 assists.
Yeah.
I mean, Pistons play hard, man. Pistons play hard. Cade Cunningham, he's a superstar. I mean, and then Tobias Harris, he came in, he balled out.
He did. He been balling.
Yeah, he been balling.
He been balling.
I mean, he's had a solid career for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. My man was 4 for 16. Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, man. Just play ball, man. That might be what I say about it, because the flopping stuff is just bothering me. I'm like, bro, just play. Good Lord.
Just play, dude. Just play, man. Because just play, man. Because you could play through a lot of that.
Yeah. You trying to draw the foul and do all that other stuff? Just you know what I mean? I don't know.
No, Tom, Pistons. It said Pistons won 4-1 time. No, Pistons didn't win 4-1. It's 3-2 Knicks right now.
3-2 Knicks, yeah.
Going back to Detroit, which is, I think they tied up.
Is they tied up in Detroit?
I think they tied up in Detroit, and I think Knicks will win in 7.
Okay.
Go back to Madison Square.
Do you think the Lakers are done?
I still think it'll go to 7, man. I don't think they're gonna go out like that. If they do, like, yeah, Luka hasn't been playing any D, man. I mean, Edwards has just been in.
We already knew that, though. We didn't play D. You said that before.
Yeah,
we knew he didn't play D.
Regular season totally different. E. Yeah, regular season totally different than playoff. Playoffs a whole different monster, man.
He ain't played D in the regular season or the playoffs.
Yeah, but I'm saying like playoffs, now it's like you could really get exposed. I'm not saying he wasn't in the regular season, but now it's like,
yeah,
you better lock in. And Edwards is he's on your head. I'm telling you, he's a beast, man.
Man,
that's one of my favorite players to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, he got to play a little bit of D. Good Lord. Just some D?
Oh, yeah. Someone put like LaMelo Ball's dad. Yeah, he kind of made it work, I guess.
He made it work.
He fell back, but I think he got him to where he wanted to and then fell back.
He fell back, yeah. He was doing those
on QSportsTalk.com. This is the Etan and Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
Hey man, let's hop into the playoffs a little bit. I know we've talked about a little bit about your New York Knicks, my Detroit Pistons. Like, this feels like an old '90s battle. Like, they're beating each other up. It's a lot of physical play. It's a lot of trash talking, and I love when basketball is played like that. It just seems like both of these teams are playing super, super competitive basketball, and it makes for a better series to watch, honestly.
You know, it definitely does. You know, I got to say, you know, I'm Nick diehard, but I need Jalen Brunson to stop flopping so much. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, just play ball, man. You don't need to do all that. Just play. You're a great player. Just play. Stop doing all the flopping. But, you know, I still got my Knicks winning the series. You know, they go back to Detroit now, though, right?
So they go back to Detroit for Game 6, 3-2 Knicks. I think it's going to go to 7. And I just think they're going to the NBA. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We talked about the gambling stuff, how it is. Maybe they want them to go back and win it in New York City, right? And maybe they want to do it on their home floor. But I just think the way the Pistons are, because they were supposed to win. What was it? A game? What was the game before this? What game was that? Game 3. That they lost. They were the one where they didn't call the foul on Tim Hardaway Jr. When he shot it in the corner.
Hold on. They didn't call the foul, but my man Josh Hart did get held before that. There was a lot of fouling going on that the rest did. It wasn't just one play. Like, there was a lot of whistles that could have been blown. It wasn't just one.
Right. But look, that right there entails what type of series we have. Like, I love those old school type feel series, right? Like, these guys are really just playing super hard, man, going at it. And look, there's superstars involved in the series. We talk about Cade Cunningham with Detroit, right? He's an up-and-coming superstar, young superstar. And then, obviously, Jalen Brunson with New York, minus the flopping, right? And then you got and then you got, like, these other guys around, right? You talk about, like, Josh Hart. I guess Karl Anthony Towns would be considered he'd be considered a superstar, right? He's up there. And OG, I don't even know, Ginobili. I don't want to
I got you.
Kill his name, yeah. And then you got the twin Thompson, Isaiah Thompson. He had 22 yesterday. I was watching the game. Like, he's one of the best cutters I've seen. Like, he's cutting to the rim on every single drive, just being available at the rim, playing great defense. This is my favorite series to watch so far. I know we've been talking about Lakers and Minnesota, and I'm sure we'll touch on that real quick, but the old school, we're going back to the Oakley Ewing. You know, we talking about Dumars and Thomas and those type. Man, those were battles, man. When you talk about Eastern Conference, Knicks, Pistons, and you could even talk about Chicago, New York, or Chicago, Detroit. Like, those guys were beating up on each other. I don't know if it's that physical, because that was another level, but I love it when guys are playing hard and it means something to them. Like, we've seen some trash talk, and even in the Indiana series with Dame and before he got hurt with Dame and Tyrese. And I like what Tyrese said in the press conference. He wanted to make sure Dame, send his blessings to Dame for, make sure everything was good with the injury. But then he basically stated, like, look, we're two super competitive guys. It's nothing personal. This is how it goes. Right. And I think a lot of times the outside see that and they're like, oh, they hate each other. Man, we this means something to us. When it means something to you, that stuff is going to happen. You're going to have that type of conflict within the game. I love it. It makes me want to get out there and hoop. I know I can't right now, but I love that feel.
Let me just say this, Nico Harrison. Please do not put out a statement or do an interview saying I told you so about Luka. Just leave it alone. Okay, Luka's not playing defense well. They're losing, but just don't say nothing else. You know what I mean? You're taking all the blame for this trade like it was only your fault. You know what I mean? You're out there in the forefront, but your interviews are always making things worse. Just be quiet. Don't say nothing else. You did the trade, and the trade's over.
Close that book right there. He shouldn't say anything else. Real quick before we get off, I know we got about a minute. I just wanted to tell everyone about the event my foundation is having this Saturday, May 3rd. It's at Lock One Distillery. It's going to be a celebrity bartending event. So myself, Brandon Trish, Katie Kalinsky will be behind the bar serving drinks. There's going to be food trucks. We'll have Dippin' Dots. We'll have Angry Pig. It's going to be raffles, prizes, games outside for the kids. So it's this Saturday at Lock One Distillery, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a family event. Come bring the kids, cousins, grandpas, whatever it is, bring them all. All the proceeds from the event go back to the foundation, which help the youth with multiple things in the community of Syracuse. So I just wanted to get that out there. If you don't got anything going on this weekend, come through Lock One Distillery in Phoenix. We'd love to have you guys.
That's great, man. Much respect to you for all the work that you do in Syracuse. All right, so we got to roll. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all, and we're out.
The three